Thank you for joining me tonight. Tonight we're going to be discussing or in conversation about listening to your inner guidance. My name is Helen Ford. This is Odyssey, the platform, and I work as a practitioner with Odyssey. My background is hypnotherapy. These are my other background, which is also interior design, but hypnotherapy, EFT, NLP, various other things, Psych K. So yes, I'm here as a practitioner, and connecting and listening to your inner guidance is something that I am really, really passionate about, even because everything starts with us, as we know. So we're just going to work through some slides today, and any questions, drop them in the chat box as we go. You can always ask me questions at a later date if you're not on this call now, but we're just going to really sort of tap into what listening to our inner guidance means, what it means for you, how you can utilize it on a day-to-day basis, working out how you can connect to the part of you that knows, because we all have this capability. So, can work out how to do that. Right. So there are three sort of quite large reasons why you might want to begin practicing connecting with your inner guidance. And the first one is authenticity. So when we come from our heart space, when we connect back to ourselves, we can only be in a space of being genuine. So your inner guidance is a direct connection to your authentic self. Learning to listen to yourself, tune into what you need, tune into what makes you feel good, all of those things. And this allows your dreams, desires, and passions to be present without the influence of other people. So we know how easily we can be kamikazed when you say something like, well, today I want to do this, and someone says, no, I don't want to do that. And a lot of us, because we can all be in have our moments of people pleasing, and like, oh, okay, then I should do that because that keeps the other person happy. So one of the most powerful things that we can do is learn to really ground within ourselves, to create this central channel that runs through ourselves so that we know exactly how we like to live, what our passions are, how we serve, and we can do all of that with compassion and integrity, but we know what our no is. And invariably, when we start to learn what our no's are and what our boundaries are, we get to tune in more to our yes. So as you learn to trust your inner guidance, you'll be able to tap easier into your unique talents and strengths. And that's going to only end up in you doing more things that serve and that are purpose driven for you. So another reason to listen to your inner guidance is to be in alignment, to find the path of least resistance by allowing your inner guidance to act as the compass. This involves, again, as we get to trust ourselves and listen, we just start to know. And it's naturally going to guide you to where you need to be. It's always trusting that you have everything you need to know within you. It's also going to allow life to flow by following your inner guidance, and notice then how the opportunities align effortlessly with your goals. So just allowing yourself to trust the process of life and follow that compass. Know that you are always divinely led, divinely supported. Nothing comes to you that isn't for you. And if it does feel that way, it's often that there's something you need to learn from it. Because life happens for you, not to you. It's always worth remembering that. And then we have the classic intuition, where this really all originates from. So becoming best friends with your intuition, which is always going to want to help you align to your decisions. Your intuition is also referred to as a gut feeling. something that might come up within your body somewhere. Some people feel it in their hearts, some people literally feel it in their guts. It's learning to listen to that. And you may do this already, and it may be something that you're curious about, and it may be something that you just want to develop as a practice just to see where it goes. But by listening to your inner guidance, you'll have full access to your intuitive wisdom. And that's going to help you literally tap into your highest dreams, your best interests. So I can never seem to just jump one page. So our inner guidance starts with our intuition. Intuition is the GPS of the soul. When you break down the word intuition, it is literally intuition. So our internal knowledge, things that are inherent within us. We all have this skill. I've had many people over the years say, oh, I just don't think I have it. I don't know what to do with it. I don't know if I believe in it. We all have it. And it's literally just a skill that we can learn to listen to, we can develop. And once we follow our intuition, it gives us a huge advantage within life, because ultimately it's always talking to us. And if we choose to take the wisdom from it, it's only going to guide us in the right direction. Many of us, just by default of the way we live at the moment, or the way we live as human beings in this 3D sort of society, our intuition has been suppressed because we've grown to become very rational, very left brain beings, and we can live in our heads. We all have moments when we live in our heads, but we definitely as a society live a lot more in our heads. So we're always thinking about how we should act and how we should be and what we should do, as opposed to feeling. And believe it or not, our heart actually is a larger brain than the brain in our heads. And yet it's the one we often, no, not listen to that. What does that know? No, it must be logical, because we live in a logical world, apparently. So when we are in that space where we are potentially always trying to live within our heads, and we're always thinking about how we should be and trying to work it out, giving ourselves a headache, whatever, it can often, if we are negating everything within our body, when our body is talking to us, or our heart, our gut reaction, when something's coming up, but we're pushing that down and we're just listening to our heads, it can feel very wrong. It can feel very much like we're wearing someone else's clothes, because you're just feeling awkward and uncomfortable because you're just simply not listening to the messages that are coming forward for you. And when you're interacting from your mind, you might just end up feeling uncomfortable. For many, it could just be a practice. It could be just the norm. But others of us will know that it doesn't feel quite right, but we're just not sure how to change it. So when you're interacting and responding to life from a deeper place, from a more grounded place, from really listening to all aspects of yourself and that part of you that knows, you're tapped into your inner wisdom, and it's going to flow, and it's only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger the more you tap into it. And as you tap into it, you're going to feel more grounded and more present. And as I said, it's not difficult to access. It's like a muscle. It's like, when you go back to a yoga class, if you've not been for 2 weeks or 2 years or whatever, and it's like, the more you practice, the more you stretch it, the easier it gets. And it's available right now. But a lot of the times, our intuition can be drowned out by the external noise. No, this is how you should be. This is what you should do. Oh, I wouldn't do it that way. We've all been there, right? We know that's the case. So how can you become so grounded within yourself that none of that noise matters. Like you become Teflon, like, thank you so much for your opinion, but I'm okay. And that takes practice because it's boundaries wrapped up in that as well. So the other thing we have as a society at the moment is an absolute compulsion with being busy. We're in a fast-paced world. We're on our phones 24/7. We're always reachable. We're always connectable. We're always like go, 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 go. And that is creating noise. And the more noise we have, the more we move away from our intuition and our inner guidance system. So some of the noises that are perhaps not helping us connect with our intuition or our inner guidance, it's going to be the TV. Having the TV on 24/7 becomes like a hypnotic thing. You take things and information in by osmosis, the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's literally, the television is called television. So there's programming within it, and it just keeps you on the outside of yourself, as opposed to the inside. Same with the news, social media. Social media is a classic example. We can spend ages flicking up and down, left and right, whichever way it goes. And all we're doing is looking what everyone else is doing. And what does that do? It can basically bring up FOMO, fear of missing out. We're external of ourselves again. Look at the wonderful life this person has got. Oh, I don't have that. There's no power in that. It's not empowering us, is it? So stepping away from these things from time to time, or at least being consciously aware of the effect it has on you, and consciously making the choice that, okay, when I look at social media, I'm going to know that I am a great person and that my life is good, and go that way. Opinions of others. This can also be a real noise for us. People telling us how we should be, how we should think, what we should do, what we should wear, where we should go, what time we should be there, blah, 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 blah. It goes on. We always have a choice. We can always say no. We can say no with kindness. And the other thing we all do at the moment, which is we're always doing. We're busy, we're running around. We don't give ourselves time. We don't give ourselves time to listen. We don't give ourselves time to breathe. We don't give ourselves time to be. And we are human beings. Love that phrase. We're human beings, not human doings. We forget to be. Just to be in stillness, just to listen. So as you develop your intuition, connect back to your inner guidance, by default, you will find yourself more centered because you're honoring yourself and you're listening. And when you're feeling more centered, you'll feel less stressed and you'll be more in the driving seat of your life because you will be choosing. You'll be choosing what makes you feel good and what perhaps doesn't. You'll know your yes. And hopefully you'll know your no. And when you know one, you're going to know the other. And the more curious you become about this, the more you're going to realize how easy it is to trust that inner guidance system. So, oh, what happened there? Oh, we're trying to move things around on my screen. So, as I've been saying, listening to your inner guidance really starts with a returning to you, a returning to the self. When you ask others to tell you what to do, or when you're always reaching outside of yourself for advice, for answers, for help, for support, I'm not saying don't do these things, but maybe give yourself some time to ground into your own heart first and your own thoughts and feelings first, rather than being scattered in asking for everybody's opinion, because that can just become confusing. And when you align with somebody else's advice, if it's not true to yourself, you're aligning with their internal guidance system, with their model of the world, their map of the world, as we discussed the other week. And the likelihood is, when you practice this, you'll start to recognize when that feels wrong in the body, because it won't be what aligns for you fully. And sometimes it's just easier to go, oh, well, my husband said I should do this, so I'll just do it because it keeps everyone else happy. But nope, we absolutely don't need to be doing that. This is about returning to you. You hold the power. You are in the driving seat of your life. So if you find yourself aligning to what other people are telling you to do, you're likely to deprive yourself of valuable lessons, because there's no wrong answer. There just is information. It just is what it is. So you try it, and if it doesn't work, you rethink it next time. But I would always wholeheartedly encourage anybody to sit with anything they're unsure of, come back to themselves, spend some time contemplating. So some ways of returning back to yourself that you can practice weave in every day. The biggest and most important one, and I talk about this all the time. In fact, if you come on these weekly, you'll probably find that I start to repeat myself, or maybe not. I'm just going to trust that it all lands where it needs to land. So the biggest thing is being in the present moment, because we only have now. Yesterday's done, tomorrow's not happened. So the power for your life and for you is here now. And there are tools and techniques that we can use to expand upon that. I think I'll probably do some of that next week. But even just stopping and putting your hand on your heart, just being like, right, this is what's happening now. I don't need to worry about tomorrow. If I'm worrying about tomorrow, I'm not living my life now. So always bring yourself back to the power that is now, essentially. Returning back to you is nurturing yourself. Have I done the basics? Have I fed myself? Have I watered myself? Have I done what I need to do to feel good today? And then stepping into what brings joy. What makes you feel good? What makes you sparkle? And who? Who do you need to spend time with? Who do you want to spend time with? Being in a state of joy, doing things that really make your heart sing, it raises your frequency by default. And that just helps you step into that space of recognizing how you're feeling. Practicing gratitude, even when the going gets tough, there's always something to be grateful for. Could be an amazing cup of coffee, could be a beautiful sunrise, could be a pretty bird sat on the windowsill. Just all these things remind you of who you are. And then other things like meditation, yoga, if it speaks to you, breath work, just being in nature, asking what you need today, just practicing being, not listening to the world and his wife and the opinions around you, just taking some time for you. And a simple technique that I love for returning back to yourself is to literally either set an alarm, maybe once an hour, maybe once every couple of hours, or get into a practice of checking in with yourself throughout the day. And you can do that simply by stopping, putting your hands on your heart, taking a deep breath. How do I feel? What do I need? Where is my energy? Who am I giving my energy to? What am I giving my energy to? What do I need? Maybe I need a sandwich. Maybe I need to go and put my feet in the grass. Maybe I need to call my husband. It's so important. All of this is bringing your energy back to you. And that allows you to get more familiar with how good that feels. And another great question to ask yourself is, especially when you have moments where you're all up in your head, is this your business, someone else's business, or life's business? Because we can all get so embroiled in stories. Well, this is going on and that's happening and this is going on and blah, and a lot of it might not be yours. You find your energy being dragged into other people's stories, things that maybe aren't your business that you don't need to know about. It's always a reminder to come back home to yourself and recognize how much energy you're giving to things that don't necessarily affect your life in a good way, or that you don't need to be involved in. And life's business is things that are going on that you can't control, maybe things in the world that are happening that you hear about. Again, you could spend hours and hours worrying about something you can't control. Control the controllables in life and return back to what is your business and what it is that you need to do to keep in alignment with yourself. A lovely quote here by Diana Cooper, for any of you that know her. Intuition is a function of the third eye, knowing without actually seeing a picture. It can come as a flash or an inner knowing, and will become more honed as we recognize how important it is to trust ourselves. Everything starts with us. If we don't trust ourselves, how can we trust others? So, how to connect with your inner guidance? Various ways of doing this. Connecting with your heart space. So we've sort of covered this in terms of me suggesting that you connect with your joy. So remembering what you love, rediscovering the things within you and your immediate environment that bring joy. Being in that space where your heart feels fluttery and you're excited about life. Just acknowledging these things with the gratitude that they bring. And you can do simple practices like placing your hand on your heart. What are the answers that I need today? What do I do about this? You may not get the answer immediately, but just try it. Connecting with your heart space energizes your innate wisdom and opens you up to hearing the guidance. So it doesn't have to be a big ritual. It's just all about creating a little bit of space and time for yourself to listen. And then learn to be discerning. So noticing the difference between your rational thinking mind and the part of you that has a feeling about the situation. Really sort of starting to discern the difference between, am I in my head right now, or am I in my heart? Only you can answer that at any time. No one else will ever be able to answer that for you. Am I trying to make a heart-led decision from my head? How can I surrender? How can I trust what's going on within my intuition? And pay attention to where it is in your body that you have a sense or a sensation that is your intuition. Maybe it's your gut. Maybe it is your heart. Maybe it's your big toe. There's no right or wrong answer. You will know. And if you don't know, ask to know. You can simply put your hand on your heart, be like, show me where my intuition springs from. And we've all had those days where you've had a gut feeling or a feeling of some description that maybe you should take a different route, and you've ignored it. Different route to work. Going to work, I'm in a rush, traffic. Oh, I should go that way. Oh, no, I'm going to keep going this way. You should go that way. No, I'm going to keep going this way. And then boom, double the traffic, more stress. And you go, wish I'd done what I thought. Wish I'd listened to that response. So recognize those moments when you don't listen to your intuition and how life becomes different. And then we go back to checking in with yourself. So if you're faced with a dilemma or something that you're contemplating, just asking yourself, asking the part of you that knows. Quieten the mind and pose the question. It may take practice to trust the answers, and there's no right or wrong, it's just information. That's all it is. So if you feel like you've gone wrong, you haven't, because there's something you need to learn within that experience. So it's learning to listen to the guidance that comes up from within, whether it's a voice, whether it's a feeling, whether it's an inner knowing, and trying it, being curious. What might happen if I listen to that voice? What might happen if I follow that feeling? And if you're struggling and your guidance feels muddled, I would put all my money on the fact that it's your mind trying to override your heart. Your mind has got in and it's like, no, you don't know anything. You know nothing. I know best. I'm all the logic. I'm the logic department. I know. You've got no idea. So if you become aware that your guidance is muddled, it all feels a bit jumbled, just take a step back. Take a walk, put a pin in it, come back to it later. Just return to your heart, ask the question. The part of me that knows the answer. What is the answer? If this is very new to you, it probably will take a little bit of practice. And it might not be until later, looking back, that you realise how much easier it is to hear the guidance and to follow it. So, learning to trust. Noting those times when you knew what you needed and you didn't trust it. Maybe there was an external influence that said, no, we're not doing that. We're not going to do that. We're going to do this. What happened in that scenario? When you step back and you go, oh, I really wish I'd just done what I thought. I really wish I trusted my gut feeling on that. What do those times feel like? What is it that's turned you away from the guidance? And did you allow yourself to trust someone else's opinion over your own inner guidance? No judgment around that. We all do it. It's how we learn. So if that happens and you feel a bit off kilter with trusting yourself, just set the intention that next time you notice your inner guidance giving you a message, that you'll pay attention to it. and just notice how different it is then. And always, always trust the part of you that knows, because it does. And so then activating and cultivating our inner guidance, practices like yoga and breath work. It's the mind-body connection. Never a bad thing to do that. Gets us more in tune with our body, gets us more in tune by default to our responses, to how we feel. And then maybe invite yourself to play some fun games, because, you know, life's fun, right? So again, you might not always be right, but we're just honing a skill here. So we're honing our inner compass and a little bit of our psychic abilities with our tuning in. So maybe have a little guess who might be on the end of the phone when the phone rings. We've all had those moments where we've thought about somebody and then the phone's rung and it's been them, or they sent us a message. Interesting. Where does that come from? Ask for a sign. Ask for a sign that you're going in the right direction. If you're a little bit unsure about your inner guidance, just don't make the decision immediately. Stick with what you think or what you're feeling within your body and within your intuition, and then say, okay, show me a sign. And just wait for the sign. And the more these things happen, the more you'll go, oh, okay, that works, that's the thing. And one of my favourites, which is always asking for a parking space. I always trust that my inner guidance will find me a parking space, my intuition, my higher self. And then it wouldn't be a conversation about connecting back to ourselves without talking about nature. So we're not separate from nature, we are nature. So obviously it goes without saying that it's a great way of reconnecting us with our instincts. And it also replaces the energy of our phones and computers that can tend to override our innate knowing. So just be conscious, if you are out in nature, of maybe popping your phone in a backpack and just being present, being in that moment. And especially if you have a question or something you want to work through, just giving yourself that time. When the mind is at peace, the intuition has a clearer avenue of expression. Isn't that nice? And then, of course, we've got meditation. There's a huge connection between meditation and intuition, goes without saying, really. But being in that space, especially first thing in the morning, I think, whilst we're in that sort of semi-awake theta state, meditators reporting that they get proper sort of, because of the altered states of consciousness within the brain, they're likely to get more information by being in a meditative state. And that was hard to say. It doesn't have to be long. You can literally sit with yourself for 1 or 2 minutes, build it up gradually. It's very, by my own experience, it's beautiful to wake up and meditate first thing in the morning, even if it's for 5 minutes, and it's a guided meditation on a positive way to start the day, or just sit in stillness with yourself. And it doesn't have to be a rigid form of meditation. Just being quiet is a form of meditation. Other forms of meditation are, of course, walking, being in nature, running, cooking, dancing, breath work, doing art, journaling. All these things connect us back to ourselves. They take us away from our gadgets and gizmos. So it doesn't have to be the standard, what everybody thinks is meditation. It's just about being with the self. and just hearing anything that comes through, feeling into anything that comes through. With all that talk of meditation, we'll just do a little quick group 5-minute meditation just to connect back to ourselves. Feel comfortable to do so. And sitting somewhere quiet and comfortably. So, just when you're ready, gently closing the eyes, grounding into the space, being aware of the air around you, being aware of how your body feels, where your body is, whether you're sat or laying down, it doesn't matter. Just allowing yourself to settle, noticing your breath. Don't need to change it, just be with it. And just take this moment now to call back all parts of yourself, your energy, all those parts of you that have been off doing different things today, different parts of your mind have been in different places. Just gently allowing them all to float back towards you now. And just connect back to you, whether they land within your heart. Just calling back your energy now. And just noticing the surface beneath you, maybe where your feet are. And just dropping an anchor down from the base of the spine, however this looks for you now. Allowing it to drop down into the ground, through the layers of the earth beneath you, all the way down, deeper down, noticing what the anchor's passing on the way down. Letting it drop right down into the center of Mother Earth. And just maybe noticing how that feels. And just allowing the energy of Mother Earth to gently come back up the anchor. As you breathe, feeling grounded in the space. Allowing the energy to come back up. And as it comes up into your legs, it travels all the way up. Gently, maybe in a shape, maybe it's swirling, maybe it's direct. Maybe it's a colour. And if it were a colour, what colour might it be? As that energy comes up now, further up, and just lands within your heart space. Just gently landing there now. Filling up your heart with grounded energy. And as it sits comfortably there now, just imagine, sense or feel a beautiful light coming down from above you. Whether it's from the great central sun, whether it's from our sun, and whatever colour that light is, it doesn't matter. Just allowing it to come down now, down towards your crown, and in through the crown, down for your third eye, and intuitive wisdom, and gently coming further down now until it lands within your heart as well. There you have the grounding energies of the earth, and the beautiful sparkly energies of the universe residing in your heart. Just allow them to merge together now, knowing that they are supporting you always, and that your heart holds the answers. Maybe you might place your hand on your heart and just know that whenever you have a question or curiosity about life, you can return to your heart. You can ask the question. You are surrounded by the energies of the earth and the energies of the universe. You have all the power within you to know exactly what the answers are as you stay grounded and connected. Just knowing that you can always ask the part of you that knows, and that it's okay to trust whatever information comes to you at any time, because it's always going to be right for what you need in that moment. Just being in a space of awareness, honouring yourself, returning to you always, listening to you. My heart is open. My heart is open. My heart is open. Just allow those energies to settle within your heart. And when you're ready, you can come back into the room. There's one last slide. For those moments where maybe we need a little bit more than just trusting our own guidance, or we're not quite at that space where we fully trust it yet. This is a beautiful surrender prayer. Today I surrender my goals and plans to the care of the universe. I offer up my agenda and accept guidance or spiritual guidance, depending what resonates for you. I trust that there is a plan far greater than mine. I know that where there once was lack and limitation, there are solutions and creative ideas. I step back and let love lead the way. Lessons in getting out of your own way, trusting yourself. But if you need a little bit of support, you don't want to make a decision straight away, this is a really nice one to return to. Just while everything's percolating and landing to exactly where it needs to land at any given time. So thank you for being here. Trust your inner guidance and your innate wisdom. Follow your intuition. And I'm going to do some questions and answers now for those of you that are on the live call. And if you're watching the replay and have any questions, please do drop me a message. I'm here. You can get me via Odyssey, the platform. And yeah, I will connect with you again soon.